On tonight's North Fulton Prep Rally, look who's still hanging around in Week 9. It's the Northview Titans. Just when you think Roswell's got too much, they get a different look from the view. Elsewhere, Blessed Trinity clinches a playoff spot, and Wesleyan's offense is cooking right through October. The Wolves are taking care of business, and so are we. So get a load of all the county scores and highlights, and a lot more on North Fulton Prep Rally right now.
Comcast presents your source for North Fulton High School sports. This is North Fulton Prep Rally.
Hello and welcome to another edition of North Fulton Prep Rally, your weekly high school sports program featuring the very best from North Fulton High Schools. I'm Brian Wise, joined alongside as always by Nathan Shutter. Catch us here weeknights at 6, 8, and 10 on Comcast Channel 25. And Nathan, playoffs are right around the corner, so let's see who is still alive as we get to our keys to the weekend, and the Titans stay in the mix.
Yeah, Northview defeats Roswell 35-21. The Titans are currently 4th in region standings and alive for a playoff spot.
How about the Wolves winning their 4th straight?
Wesleyan defeats Pinecrest Academy 42-14. Wolves are heating up at the right time.
And Blessed Trinity takes one step closer.
Yeah, they defeat Therrell 38-0, remain unbeaten in region play, and clinch a spot in that Region 6 title game. Should be a doozy here in a couple of weeks. One regular season game left, but that region championship should be a fun one.
Yeah, they always are when championships are on the line. Time now to take a look at the highlights, and we start things off at senior night at Northview High School, where the Titans played host to the Hornets of Roswell. And we take things early in the second quarter. For the first scoring to start in this one, as Roswell's Corey Wilson spins off a tackle and into the open field. Hornets lead this one 7-0. Northview would answer right back as Evan Jacks with a pitch to Terrence Upshaw, who's going to bounce it outside for the touchdown. Game tied at 7.
Northview with the ball again, late second quarter. Jacks back to pass, rolls right, and fires deep downfield, finds Austin Rose wide open and off to the races. Rose will score on the 63-yard touchdown. Titans lead 14-7 at the half.
Third quarter now, Evan Jacks back to pass. He's going to look and throw over the middle, and the ball is tipped and right into the hands of Alex Brandis for the Hornets. Next play, Casey Culver back to pass, throws deep down the sideline, jumping up and making a great catch is Bennett Barton.
Culver back to pass again, throws and completes the pass to John Albert, who makes a great catch in the end zone for the Hornets. Game tied at 14.
Northview would look to answer. Evan Jacks back to pass, throws deep downfield, and coming up to make a great play is Grant Beidle. Give him the interception, and the Hornets would take over from there. The Hornets would make the most of that turnover later in the drive. Corey Wilson with the handoff up the middle. No one hardly touches him. 43 yards later, touchdown Hornets. They're up 21-14.
After a Roswell turnover, the handoff goes to Terrence Upshaw, who finds his way up the middle and into the end zone, tying the game at 21.
On the ensuing possession, it's Culver back to pass, throws out to Barton, who tips the ball, and a diving one-handed interception by T.J. Brown gives the ball right back to the Titans.
Later in the drive, it's Evan Jacks from 4 yards out and into the end zone. The Titans would take a 28-21 lead at that point.
Roswell trying to answer. It's Culver back to pass, throws deep downfield. T.J. Brown this time with an over-the-shoulder interception keeps the Hornets out of the end zone. The Titans would add another touchdown and win this one on senior night in grand fashion by a final score of 35-21. And the Titans looked very good in this one, Nathan, and it was a big win for them. So can this team make the playoffs?
Well, they put themselves in a position to do so. They are currently the number 4 seed in the region. The only spot that is really open at this point, Centennial, Alfred, and West Forsyth have already clinched playoff spots. So this is the last one remaining. They are in the number 4 seed at the moment. They do have to pull the upset at Centennial in a couple of weeks after the bye week. Milton still has a shot. If they win out, they would grab that number 4 seed because of the head-to-head matchup. So they need Milton to stumble down the stretch against Roswell or North Forsyth, but they have put themselves in the conversation at least to make it. They'd have to get a big win, though, against Centennial.
Right. Well, you mentioned Roswell playing Milton. They've had a tough season so far this year.
Not what the Hornets expected this year, coming off that Region 6 championship last year. It's got to be disappointing for those guys, but there's a lot of pride over at Roswell. They will want to finish this season strong, and I expect them to. 2 games to go. They can play spoiler. They face off against West Forsyth and Milton. They could ruin one of those teams' seasons. I expect them to get up for the games and finish strong.
Yeah, salvage at least a win and hurt somebody else's feelings. Back now to the highlights, and the Blessed Trinity Titans were looking to stay unbeaten in sub-region play. They were on the road at Therrell. First quarter, Spencer McMahon's under center, hands off to Jordan Denson. He would shed a couple of tackles before finally being brought down, and the Titans would lead after a touchdown 7-0. Panthers with the ball. The snap goes over the head of D'Angelo White, who tracks it down and falls on the ball inside the 5-yard line.
Second quarter now, McManus fakes the handoff, rolls left, and throws complete in the end zone to Casey Bradley. Titans are up 14-0.
Later in the quarter, Titans driving. The give is to Denson, who finds a hole up the middle. Denson's going to get caught from behind, but not before getting down inside the 15. A couple of plays later, the give is going to be to Sam Roberts, who finds a hole into the end zone. Titans win this one big, 38-0 over the Panthers. And Nathan, that was a big win for Blessed Trinity. So what does this mean for their postseason chances?
Well, it clinches the sub-region title for Blessed Trinity. They still have one regular season game to go against South Atlanta. They should win that game, but even if they were to fall, they own the tiebreaker with Lovett and Westminster due to head-to-head matchup. So that puts them in the region championship game against Buford, a team who defeated Blessed Trinity in the first game 42-0. Blessed Trinity has gotten a lot better since that first game of the season, but it would take a mammoth upset to knock off Buford. They are just so good in AA. So I look for Blessed Trinity to get that number 2 seed and home field advantage in the first round, which is very important if they want to make a run to the Final Four and to the Georgia Dome.
Yeah, either way, they're in the playoffs, which is always important. Time to get to some highlights now as we check in on the Wesleyan Wolves as they played host to Pinecrest Academy. First quarter, Pinecrest Academy's Jimmy Strom is going to give to John Paul Metz, who has the ball knocked from his hands, and the fumble is recovered by Jemai Jones. The Wolves would take over from there. Will Anderson's going to roll out here, and he's going to complete a pass in the flat to Brandon Gilliam, who gets the ball down around the 10-yard line.
The very next play, it's Anderson with the give to Xander Yost, who shoots up the middle and into the end zone. Wesleyan up 7-0.
The ensuing Paladins possession, Strom fires deep downfield. This pass is going to be intercepted by Charles Mack for the Wolves, and Mack's going to return it upfield for a nice gain. And that would set up this play here as Anderson with the inside pitch to Xander Yost, who sheds off a couple of tackles before finally being brought down from behind.
Later in the drive, it's Anderson back to pass, and he is going to throw it on the slant route to Rodney Morris, who gets tripped up in the open field.
Just missed a big play there. That would set up this 45-yard strike from Anderson to Morris. This time, Morris finds the end zone. Wolves control this game throughout and win 42-14 over the Paladins. And Nathan, that was a 4th straight win for the Wolves. They seem to be clicking at the right time of year.
Yeah, they definitely have gotten a lot better over the past 4 games. Ever since Will Anderson got back under center after his injury, they've ripped off 4 straight. The offense has looked great. That loss to Holy Innocents when he was out is really going to hurt them. The best they can hope for is the number 3 seed in the region. They still have to play Mount Pisgah in the regular season and then a potential region playoff against Landmark Christian, a very high potent offense. But I really like where Wesleyan is going right now. The offense is playing great. The defense is playing great. This is going to be a very dangerous team in the playoffs. I feel sorry for the number 2 seed that has to play them in the first round because it's not a fair matchup having to play Wesleyan as a 3 seed.
Never a good first-round matchup. Time now to recap the rest of the Week 9 football action from around North Fulton, and we start things off with the Centennial Knights.
Another big win for the Knights, defeating North Forsyth 19-13. They're 3-1 in the region. They clinched a playoff spot. Homecoming King Zetrick Smith got the Knights on the board with a 38-yard touchdown reception. North Forsyth jumped back out in the lead, with Jimmy Meyer hooked up with Wade Francis, tied the game at 13. And then a pair of Connor Davis field goals, 48-yarder and a 32-yarder, won the game for Centennial.
How about Milton?
Tough loss to West Forsyth, 21-6. This drops into 1-3 in the region. West Forsyth clinched a playoff spot with the win. The Wolverines sacked quarterback Colin McElroy 3 times, held Milton to just 143 yards of total offense, along with 3 interceptions. Unfortunately, but the Eagles are still alive for the playoffs. They need to win out versus North Forsyth and Roswell to clinch.
And the Gladiators of Johns Creek.
They keep on winning. They defeat South Forsyth 38-11. The Gladiators recorded 302 yards of total offense. Chase Solomon had 2 rushing touchdowns in this one. Linebacker Tommy Welch led the Johns Creek defense with 12 tackles in the game. Johns Creek really pulled away in the second half, outscoring South Forsyth 17-0.
Chattahoochee.
Another huge win, defeat Cass 56-0. Cougars amassed 413 yards in this game, 234 on the ground, 179 through the air. Cass was shorthanded on offense, and Chattahoochee made them pay. Great defensive effort for the Cougars, held Cass to just 184 total yards. Hooch will be on the road at South Forsyth on Thursday night this week.
And Kings Ridge.
big win over Mount Pisgah, 20-14 in overtime. Jason McCoy made a key interception late in regulation for Kings Ridge. The Tigers stopped the Patriots on their first OT possession, and then a big run by Julian Champ helped set up the QB keeper by Bailey Miller for the win. Devin Schmidt, a big game, 7 catches for 137 yards. A win versus Holy Innocents this week would clinch a playoff spot for Kings Ridge, but that's going to be a tough game for them.
All right, now we go back to Centennial. How have the Knights impressed you over the last couple of weeks?
When they lost that game to West Forsyth, 70-20, their season could have gone one of two ways. And you have to give all the credit to the coaching staff and the players over at Centennial for rallying after that tough loss. And they have won some very close games. All 3 wins since then have been by a total of 9 points. So this is a very mentally tough team to be able to rebound from a loss like that and to win all these close games they've been winning. And they have a chance to create a 3-way tie for that region title with a win against Alpharetta.
Huh, interesting. Now, let's go. I'm going to poke at you just a little bit. Milton was your preseason pick to win the region. So how are you feeling about that pick right now?
Well, that's not the first time I've ever been wrong, which you can ask my wife. She'll tell you that. But, you know, Milton's been a very good team this year. I think they've just had some tough breaks. Extra points have doomed them in 2 games. That Centennial game for one when it got blocked there at the end. So they've been in games, but just couldn't quite get over the hump. But they still have a chance to make the playoffs, and that's what's important at this point. If they can win the rest of their games, they will be the number 4 seed from Region 6 and be in the state playoffs, which is where everybody wants to be this time of year.
That's right, and we all ask our wives, and they'll tell us we've been wrong often. All right, that'll do it for this week. You can catch us back here on Comcast Channel 25 next week, as we'll have game highlights and features. You can also like us on North Fulton Prep Rally on Facebook and follow us on Twitter to see what's happening on the show. For Nathan Shutter, I'm Brian Wise, and as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you under the lights.
Grab some wood there, bub.